Good afternoon. Here to talk about some of the thoughts that go through my head when designing something. So, put a lot of work and effort into my workbenches over the last year or two, and just wanted to me, this is the interesting part is coming up with the designs and how you make things to make them work for you. To me, that is what's really interesting. Anyway, music of the day, Joe Bonamassa. Excellent. Talented man. We all know he's phenomenal on guitar. Truly one of the best blues guitarists around, but he has a great voice and he has a fantastic band. This album, live at the Greek Theater, you see, he works with a lot of different people. His band is just tight, tight, tight. And the more I listen to this man, the more I appreciate how good he really is. So, highly recommended. Joe Bonamassa, any of his music, live at the Greek Theater, phenomenal album. Anyway, so back to what we're here for. I thought you might get a kick out of this. So, this is some of the things that go through my mind when I'm looking at doing something. So, this is my workbench. I did a little spread, or what do you call it, slideshow. Makes it easier for me to keep things in order. The comedy of errors and thoughts in my workbench has evolved. Some of my inspirations. So, 3x3 tomorrow. Great little idea. I love the little workbench. She started this off, she kind of inspired me, so to speak. So, some of the other things that you catch, so I start snooping. As soon as I see something catches my eye, I start snooping to see what else is out there. What are the options? What can I do to make it unique? Or what's the standards? What's the rest of the people doing and using? So, commercial offering, Pegasus, two clamps, some bench dogs. And bench dogs in this case are just for holding things in place or aligning them in place. Craig, adaptive cutting system, basically a bunch of small bench dogs. All the things that bench dogs can do. Expensive. I'm not going to spend myself. I don't want to spend the money on bench dog accessories. This concept here, nice. It's different zones, definitely portable. Each tool has its own carrier and it clamps into place. So that's kind of a cool concept to me. Neat to have segmented and spread out multi-purpose like that. Rex Kruger, always enjoyable, clear, detailed, lots of great ideas. Take apart workbench, fits in his car, great idea. Scaffold bench, here's multi-purpose. A scaffold, use it for working at heights, and of course the bench portion makes it portable, set it up easy, quick on a work site or in your shop, right? And it's multi-purpose. So to me, that's kind of fascinating. Over here, we got this beam idea where it's a beam. There's two beams sitting on sawhorses. Hold down. The beam is providing hold down access points. Simple, portable, all things that I like. IKEA, the little cube, storage inside, tools on the side, worktop, wheels. Not a bad idea, okay? Bench dogs, originally, I thought, well, that's simple. Drill a bunch of holes. But then you look at what's commercially available, places like Lee Valley, and you can see all these different accessories for holding wooden pieces in place. They all cost a fortune, so I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to try and do it myself. So here's what my first large dog holes, 1.1 inch, which is curtain rod size. And the reason I wanted them that big was the end of a typical hold down clamp can fit through that hole and grab underneath. So that solves having to buy fancy, expensive bench dogs. This is just a version of aluminum slat with holes in it to work as a hold down clamp. Then you start getting into Well, now you got to build curtain rod. Because my layout pattern was inaccurate, I didn't have an accurate pattern at all. These don't form 90-degree corners, and they also don't have even spacing because my jig wasn't accurate, my holes weren't accurate. 1.1 inches is not an accurate size. You can see here, actually, if you look closely, you can see that hole right there is really rough. That's the kind of thing I ran into on a regular basis. So you have to build these little pads for placing your wood, which is fine, but then you have to hold your wood down after you've got it placed into where you want it to go. So there's your, for aligning your wood. The clamps will fit through the holes for clamping down your wood. But you can see here, right there. So if I want to put rods, I have to do a rod holder. And this just gets to be fiddle farty. It's just silliness, right? So it just did not work out well at all. Then I went, well, okay, I can use clamps, right? These guys, easy. But I need to have, because of the short reach, I need to have access to assorted places on the table. So then well, okay, let's do cutouts. And this is the first patterns I came up with. You can see what I've done is large cutouts so that clamp can reach any part of the table within about 3 or 4 inches of the edge. The hold down holes, the dog holes are still there. You just didn't use them after a while because I didn't need them. They could be used for, you would put, say, a couple dog holes on the edge or on the back to hold things in place. Whole lot of work for very little gain. So there, I've gotten rid of the dog holes altogether, and now I'm just using clamp access, so cutting holes in slots so that my clamps can access any different part of the wood. This is for making cuts, another spot for making cuts. Yeah, got rid of the dog holes. They were just more trouble than they were worth in my particular case because they weren't precise, the holes weren't precise. And the different hold down systems were more than I wanted to invest in. This is my more recent, much more elegant solution. Well, not elegant, but simple solution that actually worked well. Having strips that could pop in and out as required. In my video you saw my portable workbench, these do a lot of things, make things very easy. Simple, fairly heavy because 3/4 inch 2x4 frame. This is between a table saw and between a workbench, and it worked well. You push this up, take it to your next work site, works fine. This is my next level. I've decided to try some dog holes again, but I'm not doing anything to do with the fancy clamps. This is all just going to be, and I've built a bunch of different 1/4 inch, 5/16, 1/2 inch ready rod with nuts and bolts, and then tie down aluminum, right? These work well. There's nothing wrong with them at all. You pop a 1/2 inch ready rod with a bolt on the bottom and a bolt on the top, aluminum tie down clamp here. The disadvantage is the fiddle farty, how long it takes to get underneath, to reach underneath and place those bolts, and reaching in further in. It's much easier to work from the top rather than having to play with the underside all the time. And this is where T-track comes in, right? You just slide your T-track into place. The two disadvantages of T-track is you only have access from 1 or 2 sides. What you really need is a large hole right in the middle or at various places like this, so you can access, put your T-track in from alternate locations. And this is what I've heard some people say, is that they don't put these holes in, or access points I would call them, to make it easier to get your T-track started. On a small scale like this where you're 2 feet by 2 feet, and you've got lots of different access points, not an issue. When you're on a larger table, you might want to have holes drilled every 2 feet so that you do have access all over the place. So this is just a couple Makita hold down clamps fit into T-Track guide or router T-Track guide. I have bought a bunch of T-Track, but I'm just trying to conserve it as much as I can. The other complaint is, access, the other complaint is that if I put a lot of pressure on that spot, I could potentially rip up the T-Track out of the plywood, which would be true if there isn't anything over top of the T-Track bolt. So I've got this piece of plywood here. In this case, the T-Track goes right through plywood. There's no way that's ever going to rip up. It's physically impossible. It would have to compress up. So as long as you have a washer or board washer of a sort over top of that T-Track, I don't see how you're ever going to rip it up. That's the second complaint I've heard about T-Track. Keeping it clean, well, that should be a given. Use a piece of plywood, white plywood over top. Don't glue up over top of T-Track seams or holes or anything else. Anybody that, just don't do it. Put something over top of the top of your workbench if you're going to do glue ups, right? Make your life easier. So 3 simple solutions and it cures all of your issues, right? Here I've got 2 pipe clamps on the end of this little 2x2 workbench. You can see here there's wedges, and wedges work really well. So toggle clamp, hold one side of your wedge, bang the other side of the wedge in. Now I've got complete access to the top of that board, right? Makes life a lot easier. You can use hold down clamps, which interferes with your top access, or you can do things like wedges, pipe clamps, that sort of thing. Much better access, much quicker setup time, no farting around with the underside. Lots to be said for it. Next version, inspired by Rex Kruger and Jay Bates with Match Fit. Workhorse, Match Fit on top. Small work surface, portable, and not a whole bench. This small work surface holds your wood in place. Not bad. I like the idea. Simple, small. So you can go to a full regular desktop workbench table. Use 2 of these bench hooks with routered in or real T-Track. Now you've got some of the best of both worlds. Super small, super portable, does what you need to do, hold the wood down, right, in place, either with T-Track or with side, so you can go over top. If you lift it up on top of a 2x4, you can even get underneath with the old standard. There. Put a face on it, the same idea, drop a face downwards. Now I could work on boards facing up from the floor. This might be the solution. I have not played with it enough to actually verify any of that, but I like the basic idea. So small, portable, super portable, and useful with a couple of additions, the T-Track additions. Match Fit, same issues with Match Fit as I do with T-Track. I'm not going to go out and buy all Match Fit gear to work, right? I can use ready rod, I can buy T-Track 2.5-inch bolts. I can make T-Track by just putting the washers on. Anyway, so there is where I'm at now. Thought you might like a little bit of an insight into some of the design ideas and progress. Thanks for watching.